Hey guys, it's Ricky, got another commentary for you. As some of you might already know if you ever talk to me on Skype, I've developed a pretty unhealthy obsession with Super Smash Bros. 4. It's the first game that isn't a sim racer that I've actively worked to improve myself in since Halo 3. Hell, alongside this commentary, I released a completely necessary pissed off New Yorker midget montage. On a side note, I also main Cockney Lightsaber Man and Blue Pew Pew Robit. But back on track, tonight we look at the top 10 worst items in Smash Bros. List by WatchMojo.com. Now, from what I can gather and what little I know based on other videos of theirs I've watched, WatchMojo's countdowns list can be rather hit and miss sometimes, which isn't surprising considering the variety of topics that they cover and how frequently they upload. The inherent problem with that is pretty much described in the very first sentence of the video.
Considering the vast amount of
countdowns on our channel,
there's bound to be a few clunkers.
With that out of the way, let's begin, shall we?
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 worst Smash Bros. Items. For this list, we've selected the most useless and/or counterproductive items from the Smash Bros. Franchise.
Keep that in mind, people. Most useless and/or counterproductive items. Cause guess where that sentence is gonna bite them later on.
Number 10, Spring. The Spring is an item that was introduced in Smash Bros. Brawl. It makes this list simply because it's probably the most boring and uninspired item in the entire game.
And that's a record. Okay, ignoring how you said only useless and counterproductive items would be on the list, let's ask, is it any more uninspired than the bumper?
The Spring does exactly what you would assume. Jumping on it bounces you upwards, allowing you to rocket into the air. There are few uses for being able to jump even higher than normal in the Smash Bros. Series. In fact, in most cases, the less time you spend airborne, the better, as floating through the air leaves you very vulnerable to powerful assaults.
So then use them against your opponent. You can pick up and throw the Spring like pretty much every other item in the game and chuck them at people. That means you can use the Spring as a zoning or kill setup tool.
Number 9, the Beetle.
An item that can literally get you free kills ends up on the worst items list. How? You even admit it's not a bad item, just annoying.
Number 8, Cuckoos. Beating up on helpless chickens is a guilty pleasure in the Zelda games. Of course, the Cucco isn't totally helpless. You whack it enough times, and an army of chickens will fly at you from every direction, mercilessly pecking you to death. In Smash Bros., the Cucco acts a lot like a Mr. Saturn item, walking around aimlessly waiting to get clobbered in the crossfire. But of course, do enough damage to the Cucco and get ready for an all-out chicken storm.
Or like the Spring, you can just pick it up and throw it at anyone. If a Cucco manages to touch a player after being thrown, they'll all gang up on that player and that player alone, giving you the God-given miracle of free damage.
Number 7, the Fan. The Fan is a melee weapon that can be found in every Smash Bros. Entry.
Except it's not in Smash 4. So what the hell?
It's probably the weakest melee weapon in the game.
Probably. And you don't know this for sure. You guys aren't helping your credibility if you don't know what can be confirmed by a simple Google search or just playing the games yourself.
Probably because a fan isn't a weapon at all, unless you spell combat with a K. It does little damage and has an extremely short range. However, it's also pretty quick. You can smack the other player many times with it in quick succession, effectively trapping them in a flurry of strikes. But again, not a lot of damage.
Even your footage knows you're wrong. Sure, the fan does hardly any damage, but look how short a time it takes for Sonic to go from 0 to 44% damage, all with no knockback. And even if he were to put up his shield, it wouldn't help him much because the fan is notorious for flat-out decimating shields. Literally, the only reason you think it's bad is because of the damage output, which isn't the only important thing in Smash Bros. You have to take into account for knockback, how many times an item can be used, and what follow-ups you can make, etc. Saying it's bad because of damage output alone is just superficial.
Number 5, a broken hammer. hammer is actually one of the most powerful weapons in Smash Bros. When picked up, it turns the user into a walking killing machine, leaving a wake of destruction and chaos in its path. However, in an effort to balance the all-powerful hammer, there is a chance that, upon picking it up, the hammer's head will go flying off and your character will be stuck running around swinging the totally harmless wooden handle. Not only is the broken hammer useless in terms of dealing damage, it also leaves you very, very vulnerable.
Can you really classify a broken hammer as a separate item? The head flying off is a mechanic of the hammer itself. It doesn't mean that it has its own slot in the item switch or anything. And even then, while you may be right that you're in a lot of trouble until time runs out, if you can survive for that long, you can pick up the hammerhead and throw it at your opponent, potentially dealing 10% more damage and even more knockback than if it were still on the handle.
Number 4, banana peel.
Credibility gone.
It's a time-honored gag and a classic of slapstick comedy. In a frenetic fighting game, however, banana peels are pretty useless.
And the very next thing he says,
they can be thrown for minor damage, and if your opponent slips on a banana peel, they fall and are momentarily stunned. But what's even more annoying, Diddy Kong gets banana peels as standard for one of his special attacks. No wonder he's so hated among the tournament crowd.
You know, despite your lack of insight of the items up to this point, it's like you guys still somehow know. It's like you understand deep down that the banana peel is a stupid setup tool that helped prompt thousands of decent people who actually know what balance is to nerf that little shit flinger. But while we're on the subject of OP characters, your double jump has heavy armor, your neutral B to grab to up air combo is fucking asinine, and you can still somehow control your little puke stain of a partner while your shield is broken. Fuck you, Rick Berman! But back on subject, if that Diddy Kong player knows what he or she is doing, that very brief moment is all that he or she needs to turn the tides of any match, because it leaves you wide open for any follow-ups that he or she wants to do. If you get hit by that banana peel by a Diddy Kong main, you better pray that he or she misinputs or something, because the punishments are gonna get nasty.
Number 3, poison mushroom. The regular mushroom is a decent item, transforming you into a giant so you can beat down on your opponents. The poison mushroom, on the other hand, turns you into a miniature version, making you real easy to knock off. The worst part about the poison mushroom is that it's so hard to differentiate from the regular mushroom. It has a slightly different shade of red and a meaner mushroom face, but in the heat of battle, who's paying attention to that? Get one of these by mistake and you can get squashed like a bug.
But arguably, it also makes you a lot harder to hit. And the opposite can be said about the regular mushroom. If you keep getting hit while the regular mushroom is active, you can be in serious trouble when you turn back to normal and therefore lose all that precious weight that was keeping you from getting knocked back.
Number 2, Mr. Saturn.
No. No. You are wrong. Opinions don't even matter with Mr. Saturn. You are just straight up wrong. If that little creepazoid even so much as glances off your shield, boom, it's gone, resulting in a guaranteed punish, and in Jigglypuff's case, a guaranteed death. And Peach can sometimes pull him out of the ground rather than a vegetable, giving her a deadly option. That actually means that Mr. Saturn is one of the few items that can be legally used in tournaments. How is this in any way useless or counterproductive? Okay, number 1 is the Pokeball that Goldeen comes out of, and that really isn't a separate item from any other Pokeball, refer to the Broken Hammer bit. But just one more thing before we wrap it up. I need to ask in complete honesty. No jokes or anything, I'm not trying to come across as condescending, but did any of you guys at Watch Mojo play the games? I want to assume that you did, but 9 out of the 10 items you listed have very apparent uses and therefore don't belong on this list by your criteria. And unless I'm missing something, you don't even have your own footage to work with. You had to borrow some. And your unbelievably frequent upload rate would make it questionable if you actually had time to play, but you obviously had time to look up the footage and possibly do what little research you had from there. And if that actually happened, this is basically the YouTube equivalent of just skimming through Wikipedia. And that's the end of the video. If anyone wants to play any friendlies on Smash 4, my Nintendo Network ID is RickyRay102. While I do love Smash 4 to death, don't be expecting consistent content from it. The only videos that I have planned for it are montages for Shulk and Mega Man, and maybe another of a compilation of my secondaries, but that's about it. Speaking of montages, my buddy Waddles McGee recently released one of King Dedede, which you can view by clicking this window here. Go check out his channel too, he's severely undersubbed and his videos are fucking hilarious. As mentioned before, alongside this commentary, I released a Little Mac montage, which you can view by clicking here. Finally, if you want to listen to the music that I used in the background for this video, you can click this window here. It's a vocal cover of the main theme from the game by Sailor Cheryl, and my god is it beautiful. The thing about her cover is that she actually puts an artistic effort into writing the lyrics to properly convey the spirit of the game. I know I'm asking you guys to go to a lot of places, but please do go check her out too. She doesn't nearly have as many views as she deserves. Till next time, Ricky, out.